Salvete omnes. This is Abbey Latin Liber Primus, Chapter 13. This is exercise A of Chapter 13, and we are to complete the following verb synopses. Number 1, we want the first person singular of debeo, debere, debui, debitus, to owe or ought. Now first, you need to know the principal parts. And they are debeo, debere, debui, debitus. Then identify which conjugation is this verb by looking at the principal parts. Eo, ere, I, us. We know that this verb is a second conjugation verb. That means that the present stem is found by taking the re off the second principal part, just like a first conjugation. The perfect stem is found by taking the I off of the third principal part, just like the first conjugation. They are also used in the same places as in the first conjugation. So the present stem is used in the present, the imperfect, and the future, and the perfect stem is used in the perfect, the pluperfect, and the future perfect. The present stem is still the imperative singular, and you still add te to make the imperative plural. The only difference is that the principal parts look slightly different from the first conjugation, where the first conjugation ends in are in the second principal part. The second conjugation ends in eo in the first principal part, and ere, a long ere, in the second principal part. So we want the first person singular, the I verb form. So the present tense, first person singular, is just the first principal part, debeo. So go ahead and write debeo there. Debeo means I owe, or I ought to do something. I ought to walk. Ambulare debeo, where it takes an infinitive. I ought to do something. It takes a second principal part, another verb's infinitive. For the imperfect and the future, we're going to use the verb's present stem, which is second principal part, chop off the re, debe. Now we would have used the same stem, debe, in the present tense if our person and number were not first person singular. So we're going to add for the imperfect the tense marker ba, and then the personal ending just like in the first conjugation. The endings are not going to change. Only the stems are going to look a little bit different. So debebam, I was owing. I used to owe. The future, we'll still use bo bis bit, bimus bitus bunt. So the first person singular will be bo. Debebo, I will owe. Now the perfect, pluperfect, future perfect uses the perfect stem. Third principal part, chop off the I. Debu, debu. Now add the perfect endings. I isti it, imus istis erunt. We want the first person singular letter I, debui. I owed, I have owed. The pluperfect adds the tense marker era and then the personal ending So debu eram, I had owed. Eram, eras, erat. Eramus, eratis, erat. Then the future perfect uses the same endings, ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritis, erent, as it does in the first conjugation. So debuero, I will have owed. The imperative is formed the same way as the first conjugation. You take the present stem, which will be debe, and that is the singular imperative. Oh, thou. You, do it, oh. The plural adds te. So debe plus te, debete. Oh, ye, oh, comma, ye. Come on, you guys, oh. Optime. Number 2. Dokeo, docere, dokui, doctus, in the second person singular. So, the present stem will be doke, second principal part, chop off the re. Perfect stem will be third principal part, chop off the I. This is a second conjugation verb. You can tell by the eo, ere, I, us, instead of the first conjugations o, are, I, us. So write doke, doke, and doke, the present stem, for the present, the imperfect, and the future. Then we're just going to add second person singular endings and tense markers. So the present tense, o, s, t, mus, tis, ont, add the s. We get dokes. You teach. You are teaching. You do teach. The imperfect adds the tense marker ba, so doke ba, and then the personal ending s, the s, so you know that you are doing the action or you were doing the action. Dokebas, you were teaching. You used to teach. The future uses the tense marker be, and then we'll add the s, the s, for the second person singular. Bo bis bit, bimus bitis bunt, dokebis. You will teach. You will show. The perfect, the pluperfect, and the future perfect are formed from the perfect stem. Third principal part, chop off the I. Doku, doku, and doku. And then add the perfect personal endings. I isti it, imus istis erunt. We want the second singular, isti, to get dokuisti. You taught. You have taught. The pluperfect adds the tense marker era plus the second person singular s, the s, to get eros. Doku eros, you had taught. And then the future perfect, doku is the stem, and then you add eris, tense marker ere plus the s. Ero eris eret, eremus eretis erent. Doku eris, you will have taught. The imperative singular will be doke, teach. Plural adds te, dokete, teach, comma, ye. Come on, y'all, do it, teach. Optime, 3, tertia. Habeo, habere, habui, habitus. Third person singular, to have, to own, to possess. It is a second conjugation verb, habeo, habere, habui, habitus. The present stem is habe. It's like the English have. Just change the B to a V and you get have. The perfect stem is habu. Chop the I off the third principal part. So the present stem goes in the present, the imperfect in the future. So habe. And the perfect, the pluperfect, and the future perfect uses habu, the perfect stem. And then we're going to add third person singular endings and tense markers. So ost, T is the third person singular. Most tis, oh, it's going to be a lot of T's as endings here. So habet, habet. He, she, it has, owns, possesses. The imperfect, habebat. He, she, it was having, was owning, used to possess. You could also just say he, she, it had. Because if you have something for a long period of time, that's what the imperfect shows, we tend to use the same form, had, which would also be the perfect tense. The future, habebit. He, she, it will have. Perfect, pluperfect, future perfect uses habu, and then add the perfect tense personal endings, I isti it, imus istis erunt. Habuit. He, she, it had. He, she, it has had. You could also put the adverb once. He, she, it had once. Mean at one point they had this and now no longer. And that's a different had from the imperfect, which is to have something for a long period of time in the past. The pluperfect would be habu erat. He, she, it had had. Thanks, English. And the future perfect, habu erit. He, she, it will have had. The dangers of using the verb have as a helping verb when it has to work with the verb have. You get things like had had. For the imperative, we have habe, have, own, possess, do it. Then the plural habete, have ye, own ye, possess ye. Optime. Maneo, manere, mansi, mansus. To stay, to wait, to remain with an A, remain. Do not confuse with moneo, M-O-N. This is moneo, M-A-N, like remain. We want the first person plural. So a lot of musses, M-U-S, O-S-T, mus, tis, und. A lot of M-U-S, mus. Present stem is mane, perfect stem is mons. So we write mane in the present imperfect and future, and mons in the perfect, pluperfect, future perfect. So we have manemus. We stay, we wait, we remain. We are remaining, we do stay. The imperfect, manebamus. We were staying, we were remaining. The future, manebimus. We will stay, we will remain. The perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect use the perfect stem mons. So we get monsimus. We stayed, we have stayed. Pluperfect, monseramus. We had stayed. And the future perfect, monserimus. We will have stayed. The imperative singular will be mane, stay, wait, remain, as a command. And then the plural manete, which will be translated, stay ye. Come on, guys, wait. Optime. Moneo, monere, monui, monitus. To warn, to advise, inform, like a monitor. Someone monitors something. You're overlooking, you're advising, maybe warning. Present, imperfect, and future use the present stem, which is found by going to the second principal part of this second conjugation verb and chopping off the RE. Mone, mone, mone is the stem here. Perfect stem, monu, third principal part, chop off the I. We write monu here and here and here for the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect. Monu. So mone, and then we're going to add O-S-T, mus, tis, a lot of tisses. Monetis, ye warn. Y'all are warning, advising, informing. Imperfect, monebatis. Ye were warning. Y'all used to warn. The future, monebitis, or monebitis. Ye will warn, advise, inform. Perfect, pluperfect, future perfect. Monu. The perfect endings are e, isti, it, imus, istis, ero. We want istis, second person plural. Monuistis. Ye warned, ye advised, ye have warned. Pluperfect. Monu eratis. Ye had warned. Future perfect. Monu eritis. Ye will have warned, advise, or informed. The imperative singular will be mone, warn, advise. Plural, monete, warn ye, advise ye. And sedeo, sedere, sedi, sessus, which means to sit, like sedentary rock, or you sit in a session. Present, imperfect, and future uses the present stem. Second principal part, chop off the RE. Sede, sede, sede. And then the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect uses the perfect stem, which is sed. sed, chop off the I from the third principal part of this second conjugation verb. Third person plural, a lot of unts, a lot of nt, ost, mustis, unt. So sede plus unt to get sedent. They sit. They are sitting. They do sit. The imperfect, sedebant. They were sitting. They used to sit. The future, sedebunt. They will sit. They shall sit. Sederunt. The perfect tense personal endings are isti, it, imus, istis, erunt, erunt, erunt. So sederunt. They sat. They have sat. Pluperfect, sederant. They had sat. Future perfect, sederent. They will have sat. It goes erunt, erant, errant. unt, ant, int. Then the imperatives are sede, sit. And then plural, sedete. Sit ye. Come on, guys. Sit. Y'all sit. Optime. Very well done. You are now ready to move on to exercise B. Volete omnes.